I am coming, cowards, to lay eggs in your mouth. Oh, run! Run! I'm coming for you!
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Do you wish for Heavy to kill you? Wish granted!
A week or so ago, Valve did the unexpected and launched Team Fortress 2's annual Halloween-themed update, Scream Fortress, about a week or two earlier than normal. It's kind of become a bit of a joke within the community that the TF2 Halloween update starts barely just a week before Halloween itself, and is known to extend so far into November it's almost Thanksgiving by the time the event comes to a close. This time around, Valve seems to have opted instead for the more logical and rational approach of just making it an all-month October event. In typical Valve fashion at this point, no new Valve-made weapons or maps were included in this update. I hate to start off with a negative point rather than a positive one, but it really bothers me on a fundamental level that we haven't gotten a single new weapon for any class since 2017. Doubly so when you consider the fact that Valve literally has access to a conceivable, near limitless supply of weapon designs and concepts via TF2's player-supported community workshop, where community modders are able to feature their items for Valve's own consideration. Valve would have to do almost nothing themselves. They can just be like the developer of Yandere Simulator and just let other people build everything for them, with Valve doing little more than just inputting the new additions into TF2's framework. Likewise, various prominent and far more technically capable members of the community, certainly compared to myself, have been putting together new code changes that, if implemented into TF2, would effectively obliterate the current hacker and bot problems currently plaguing the game. Since Valve's own VAC anti-cheat system is now about as good at handling the problem of bots and cheaters as Windows Defender on the Windows Vista system was good at detecting viruses. And if you had never had the misfortune to do homework off of a Windows Vista laptop, then just take it from me that you have been blessed indeed to avoid such an experience. However, Valve being Valve, none of this has of yet been added into the game. I can't think of any better time to introduce a massive game-changing overhaul to bot and cheater detection than as part of one single content update TF2 fans can expect from Valve every year. Scream Fortress has always been one of the best times to get back into the flow of playing TF2 if you're a veteran who's put some distance between yourself and the game due to its semi-inactive development cycle, and thus it has always resulted in one of the highest periods of player activity in any given year. So what better time to test out your new awesome bot banning overhaul than now? But whatever. I suppose we should just know by now not to set the bar too high for Valve. They've turned the practice of doing just above the bare minimum into a near art form. One major thing I do want to give Valve at least partial points for is having the common sense of, if they're not going to make content for their own game, at least import some pre-made, unofficial, community-made stuff. And as ever, the community does not disappoint. Scream Fortress 12 includes 4 new community-made maps, including Bloodwater and Hassle Castle, both being reskins of 2 existing TF2 Valve-made maps, Badwater Basin and Upward, and 2 original community maps, Megalo, a pretty well-known King of the Hill map, and Molder Grove, another lesser-known but still pretty fun King of the Hill map. Of these 4, Megalo and Bloodwater are my favorites. Megalo has this really neat and innovative design twist that changes up the otherwise fairly vanilla King of the Hill game mode. The capture point itself being a railway turntable, in layman's terms, effectively a rotating intersection where trains cross, will actually alternate between elevating itself and then lowering itself back down again, forcing the defending team to alternately defend the point on both the high ground and the low. Also, there's the fact that trains frequently just race by, instantly killing any player unfortunate enough to be in their way. Trust me, I was one of them. Bloodwater, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a fairly minimalistic, Halloween-decorated variant of Badwater Basin, but with an enormous pool of blood just sitting there in the middle of the payload track. And there's the fact that Halloween bosses tend to just spawn nearly every time the attacking team's payload cart crosses one of the designated checkpoints. I don't know if this map has a higher than average chance of Halloween bosses spawning compared to other Halloween maps, but it certainly feels that way if nothing else. I don't mind the chaos, in fact I quite enjoy it. After all, chaos isn't a pit, it's a ladder. Bonus stocks to anyone who knows that reference, by the way. In addition to the 4 new community maps, Valve has also re-enabled special limited-time matchmaking queues for all its existing Halloween maps, with 2 separate matchmaking queues, one featuring the 4 new 2020 Halloween maps and another featuring every previously added Scream Fortress map in TF2's history. TF2 has a lot of good Halloween maps, and it's great to see them all organized into one clean playlist like this. It makes the Halloween event feel a little bit more impactful when you see the developers give it not just one but two designated playlists that players can queue up for. In addition to the community maps and matchmaking playlists, we've also got the usual assortment of popularly voted community cosmetic items, all added as part of this year's Halloween-themed loot box. I know they're called crates, but let's not deny what we all know to be true. Valve should get majority credit for introducing loot boxes to PC players, not Blizzard. Blizzard just popularized the concept worldwide. This year's loot box, referred to as the Wicked Windfall case, contains 22 new cosmetic items. Some of the cosmetics are Halloween exclusives, meaning once the Halloween event ends, you won't be able to re-equip them until next year's Scream Fortress event, unless you're playing on a community server that has enabled such cosmetic items. I'm not going to read through the full list. It's a decent assortment of items, but only a few really stuck out to me. The ICU, the Ghoul Box, the Sophisticated Smoker, Pebbles the Penguin, because honestly that's just cute. How can you say no to a little cute penguin that you can cuddle? Reader's Choice, All Hallows Hat, Head Prize, and the Genuine Fearmonger. The last one I believe is the same skin that you got if you bought the, what was the third Batman game? The Batman Arkham Knight. Yeah, that's what it was. If you bought Batman Arkham Knight, you got the Genuine Fearmonger, I believe, because I believe that was based off the Scarecrow mask, although I could be mistaken. Halloween contracts are back, so if you're hoping to get back to work on all your old Halloween contracts that you might not have finished in last year's update, now's your chance to jump back into either casual or competitive mode to finish them. Though truth be told, I don't know anyone who's bothered to play TF2's competitive mode at this point. Why Valve didn't follow the same esports model that the pros had been playing years ago, like running 9s, I have no idea. It'd be kind of fun and different to jump into a game where teams are forced to have only one of each character, adding a bit of tactical gameplay into the mix. A missed opportunity if you ask me, but I digress. Oh, and there's also 6s, I forgot about 6s, but that definitely was the official community-run TF2 esports mode. Though, let's be honest, if we can think of any game that definitely doesn't fit into the category of esports, it's TF2. Also Minecraft. Surprisingly, new community maps and cosmetics wasn't all that we got this year. TF2's embarrassingly terrible manpower mode got its first major update in literally years, and it's quite the major rework to the abysmal mode. The two biggest problems with manpower mode is number one, no one really seems to know how to play it. It's easily the least user-friendly mode in TF2's history, and trust me, prior to manpower, there were a few serious contenders for that role. And number two, it was horribly unbalanced, and I mean horribly, to the point that the majority of the TF2 community quickly came to the mostly universal consensus that it ought not to be played, compared to the other existing far more enjoyable modes. As before, I'm just going to skim through the list and pick out my favorite new changes, but if you're looking for a full tally, I recommend going to the TF2 blog and reading the full patch notes for yourself. Also, I'm not reading them off in any specific order, just in order of random prioritization my brain decided to assign them. They removed the medic's unofficial glitchy ability to tag along via quick fix to anyone with a grapple gun, so you're no longer going to see your local medic taking flight through the air like Archimedes or any of his other feathered friends. Honestly, this change above nearly any other needs some serious applause. I remember when manpower was first added and we had this meta where you'd have demo knights and medics tagging to get the flag. Between the grapple hook and the demo knight's ability to charge forward, you had this almost unbeatable team up where the demo and medic would get airbound, and at the peak of that vertical arc, the demo would activate his charge ability, and the momentum would send him and the medic flying off hundreds of feet beyond anyone's reach. And almost any attempt to stop him would be futile, as his medic would just near instantly heal anything short of a critical headshot. This change will at least make it possible for defenders to not necessarily automatically lose the minute their flag is taken. Likewise, if you're playing as medic, your heal rate and uber charge rate will now be getting a small nerf if you're healing someone who has a power-up equipped. It would seem Valve decided giving players demigod-like abilities, as if they were something out of the Percy Jackson books, then topping that off with an uber or overheal all the time might just be the tiniest bit unbalanced. All better to have this fixed years later than not at all, I suppose. For some reason, Scout no longer has to deal with falling damage. I'm not sure what prompted this change, but since Scout has the smallest health pool out of the entire cast of characters, I suppose removing one passive form of damage isn't really that much of a buff. Valve has also added in what I can only imagine is an anti-griefing measure, where if a single player is dominating the scoreboard for too long in manpower mode, they'll automatically enter a quote-unquote dominant state, where the effectiveness of their power-up, if they have one, is severely nerfed, and they'll be marked for death, making it easier for other players to eliminate them. This is kind of a cool mechanic. I have mixed feelings on it, but I can't deny it's an interesting new addition to spice things up. Finally, the flag got itself some major reworks. Flag return time got doubled from 15 to 30 seconds, requiring the defending team, the team that the flag was stolen from, to successfully keep enemies off it for a total of 30 seconds. Considering players no longer have the ability to effectively zip around the map with full healing, making the flag recapture rate a bit more generous seems a fitting and appropriate change. But the attacking team won't have every advantage. Whoever is using the grapple hook while holding the flag now has a fairly severe movement speed nerf applied, now moving 35% slower than normal except for Scout, who only has a 20% grapple movement nerf. I can't say these changes really incentivize me to wholeheartedly dive in and become addicted to manpower mode, but it does slightly improve the state of the mode in my eyes, and I think in the eyes of a great number of other people within the TF2 community. It makes the mode a little less of a laughingstock, and instead can almost be viewed as a somewhat viable, if albeit still a little confusing, game mode. Overall, this year's Scream Fortress event was more than what I expected from Valve. An experience has taught me to hold Valve to the lowest possible standards in general. I am, as always, more than happy to have my cynicism be proven wrong, occasionally. I was expecting one, maybe two community maps, a single new cosmetic case, and a few simple bug fixes and file localizations. And we definitely got more than that this year, so I'm happy. If there is one net positive for Valve fans, it's that the current economic lockdown situation has deprived Valve employees of their usual opportunities to do nothing of worth, and by that, I'm including the dozen plus projects that they picked up and dropped like a hyperactive toddler over the past few years alone, as well as the abandonment of their existing online games aside from CSGO. Now we're starting to see what could hopefully be a slight return to the old Valve game design philosophy. Maybe. For those still hoping for that heavy-themed update we were promised about 3 years ago now, though, I'm still not holding out much hope. I'm glad though that TF2 is still getting any major updates whatsoever, even if they're not quite as impressive in the present year compared to what we used to get in years past. Not many developers would still be supporting their game servers, let alone holding in-game seasonal events 13 years after its release. And that's as much a testimony to TF2's loyal community as it is to Valve's as both developer and publisher. Here's to hopefully us gathering once more to face off against Erasmus, Monoculus, and the Skeleton Horde in next year's Scream Fortress event. On that note though, that's where I'm going to wrap it up for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, and consider subscribing on YouTube and clicking the bell to get notified so you can be among the first to know when I upload a new video. I usually upload weekly, more or less, so you don't have to worry about me being one of those channels that bombards your subscriptions feed with daily uploads. That's not my style. I'm hoping to end the month at over 900 subscribers so I can stand pace to cross over 1,000 and hopefully get my channel monetized by the end of the year. Not gonna lie, that'd be a pretty awesome way to end the wacky truth or dare roller coaster of a year that has been 2020. Currently sitting at about 880, so another 20 to go, quite doable. So, go out there, fly my pretties, and convert your fans to this local. I mean religion, of course, because it's not a cult as long as you don't think of yourself as one. Now that I'm done ruining this otherwise perfectly planned outro, let me know what you think of this year's Scream Fortress event, and what game you'd like me to cover next in the comments down below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions or respond to any feedback you may have for me, so don't be afraid to ask or talk to me. I'm usually pretty good about responding to comments when I want to. I'm hoping to have one or two more spooky horror game review videos out by the end of the month. I'm having quite a good time having a Halloween-themed month here on the channel. Definitely a first, but I'm all for that. This is WarriorDan signing out. Stay awesome, everybody. Stay safe, and peace out.